the closest I'm ever going to get to trying something.
See this kid right here? Yes, the one T-posing with the animal head on. That kid is me. You may be wondering how on earth I ended up in such a situation. Well, if you want to know that, let's rewind a little bit. April the 1st, 2023. I have been invited to Cardiff to attend my first ever furry convention. And you guys will come with me, and together we will figure out what it means to be a furry. But first, a little bit of backstory. In the beginning, there was darkness. No sound, no light, no nothing. Okay, maybe not that far back, but we still need to introduce exactly what a furry is. So, let there be light! And a fluffy human-like cat person with brown fur, red stripes and red eyes. Much better. Now, when you picture furries, anyone who knows a certain thing or two about the fandom would think of something like this. However, I don't think just showing you pictures of animals standing on two legs is enough to educate you guys on what a furry is. What are you looking at? According to Oxford Language, a furry is defined as an enthusiast for animal characters with human characteristics. In particular, a person who dresses up in a costume as such a character, or uses one as an avatar online. Ignore the top bit, that's not relevant. Besides, I don't think that definition even scratches the surface of what a furry is. I'm about to show you a map of Europe. Except, it's not a map of Europe. Okay, yes, it is a map of Europe, but it isn't the kind of map that one would expect. It shows a location of every single furry in Europe, and also how densely populated they are in certain countries. For example, you can see there are a hell of a lot of them in the UK and in Germany. Subject to change, of course, because it was 8 years ago when it was posted to r/Europe. But it doesn't even end there. The University of California conducted a survey into furries to identify what kinds of people there are in the fandom. This pie chart suggests that the vast majority of furries are part of the LGBTQ community as well. Whatever you are, you're valid. Anyways, enough about furries themselves, let's see what the general public thinks of them. Excuse me. Excuse me. Off to a fantastic start. Excuse me, you two. Excuse me? Oh, why does nobody listen to the random stranger holding a microphone? No worries though. We had a backup plan. Returning to school. What are your thoughts on furries?
I
love them. I'm part of them. I got the whole like £5,000 suit at home.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
What about you two?
I didn't even get the question.
What are your thoughts on furries?
Furries.
Oh, furries!
Yeah,
I thought you said furries, I was gonna be like, yeah, Tinkerbell.
Yeah, no,
like my
that's it.
fave.
I love them. They're amazing. Fully support.
Wow, it's safe to say that I wasn't expecting. It just goes to show that you never really know when you're going to run into another furry.
Oh god.
On what?
On furries.
Oh Christ.
I don't know, man.
That's a loaded question. Do what you want. Live your life.
They're alright.
Thank you. So it seems college students have quite a bit of support for furries. Anyway, on the next day, this happened.
They're the animal f***ers, aren't they?
No. Turns out I spoke too soon. The fact that's even a misconception really disconcerts me. Furries have contributed more towards the protection of animals than they have for the exploitation of them. Even if a furry does come out as a zoophile, they're not considered part of the fandom. If you do come across one on the internet, however, I'd recommend you block them. And now for the part you all were waiting for. The convention itself! In the Geek Retreat in Cardiff. However, we don't retreat. Instead we advance. As this is the location of FurTheMoment, the only furry convention in Wales, held once a month for multiple years, in this very room. It'll be here where we consult fellow members of our community to gain a deeper understanding on what it means to be a furry. But first of all, I need to apologise because I was incredibly awkward during these interviews. It's really hard to be professional when you're so excited to be there amongst other members of your community.
I've been in the fandom since 2004-ish. I joined through paintball. There was a webcomic called The Whiteboard, which was about paintball and animals. And that kind of just led me into furries way back in the day.
It's interesting to find out that the furry community has been around for a very long time. Despite the fact that the furry community seems to mostly be made up of teenagers and young adults, the concept of a furry in and of itself has existed ever since the 1980s.
What got me into the fandom was mainly video games and also flash games on the internet. I used to play a lot of animal-based games growing up, so games like Animal Jam, Moshi Monsters, also games like Sonic. I also discovered the art of furry via cosplay and Disney mascots, so like the mascot costumes you'd see at Disney World.
I can see you brought your fursuit along with you. So, what's that like to wear in a room such as this? Does it get
Very hot. Yeah, it's boiling in here, yeah.
How long have you had this fursuit?
Since 2017, my partner, who's over there somewhere, surprised me with it as a Valentine's gift.
It's more of like a hobby to me, but it's nice meeting other people.
It's just an excuse for me to have a good laugh with mates and, when I'm at conventions, have a few drinks, have a couple of laughs, and just, let my hair down.
All right then. Yeah, don't say I didn't warn you about the awkwardness.
For me, it's about making people happy while also being your true self. I know a lot of people, myself included, were brought up thinking that what we were interested in or what we were doing as hobbies or anything else like that were wrong or shameful and not accepted by society. But in my honest opinion, being a furry is being accepted in a society, in like a group of friends who will love you for who you are. And you don't get that often, especially in this day and age where we have to constantly fight for our rights and fight for just being who we are, whether it be gay or, I feel like more communities should embrace that, and society as a whole should be like that. It should be more inclusive and it should just be more accepting. Like, sure, it isn't the most normalist thing in the world, but so isn't video games or fashion or any kind of industry on the planet. And yeah, that's how I truly feel, regardless of what society thinks.
Yeah, that's a fantastic answer to the question. Thank you so very much for your contribution. And before we part, hug.
Thank you so much.
So there we have it. Everything's up to your own interpretation, of course. However, I hope this gives you a better insight into the furry community. Now you know they aren't the heathens you may have thought. And on the surface, they're just normal people, like you and me. All brought together by their love for the fandom and their common interests. Hoping to spread kindness, love, peace and all things positive across the world in their silly, goofy and fun ways. To you, the viewer, thank you for watching. And to any other furries out there, whether they're past, present or future, I salute you.